Hey there, and welcome. So today, we're going to dive into a topic that, let's be honest, affects millions of us, the cholesterol blood test. It's one of the most common tests out there, but what do those numbers on the paper actually mean for you and your health? Well, let's break it all down together.
So, right off the bat, I've got a question for you. Do you know your numbers? Your cholesterol levels, I mean. If you're thinking, not really, or maybe you're just a little fuzzy on the details, don't worry, you're in exactly the right place.
All right, here's a quick look at what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why cholesterol is this silent health risk we need to know about. Then we'll decode the test itself, what actually happens. After that, the fun part, understanding your numbers. And finally, we'll talk about how to turn all that knowledge into action.
Okay, so let's jump right into our first section. Why should we even care about cholesterol in the first place? Well, the simple answer is, it's a massive indicator of our heart health, and that, as you know, is a really big deal.
And look, this statistic right here, it's a pretty sobering reminder of why this all matters so much. In places like the UK and many others around the world, heart disease is still a leading cause of death. Now, this isn't about scaring anyone, it's really about highlighting just how vital it is to be proactive, and knowing your cholesterol is a huge part of that. So what is this test, really? Well, you can think of it like a snapshot of the fats, or lipids, that are cruising around in your bloodstream. Now, it doesn't tell the entire story of your health, of course, but it gives us absolutely vital clues about your risk for heart disease. It's a crucial piece of your personal health puzzle.
So when you get your results back, you're going to meet four main players. First, you've got your total cholesterol, which is kind of the big picture number. Then you have the two you always hear about, LDL and HDL. And finally, there are triglycerides, which are another type of fat in your blood. And each one tells a little piece of the story about your heart health.
So you might be wondering, why does everyone get so worked up about LDL? Well, it's because when you've got too much of it, it's kind of like a traffic jam building up in your arteries. It just builds up, it can create blockages, and that directly increases your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. That's the connection, from a simple number on a page to a really serious health event.
Okay, so we've covered the why. We get it, it's important. Now let's pull back the curtain on the process itself, because honestly, just knowing what to expect can make the whole thing a lot less stressful.
This is actually pretty easy to remember. Just think of HDL, the high-density lipoprotein, as the hero cholesterol. Its job is to basically act like a cleanup crew, grabbing extra cholesterol and carrying it away from your arteries. LDL, the low-density one on the other hand, is the villain of the story. It's the one that tends to drop off cholesterol in your arteries, and that's what leads to those blockages we talked about. So the goal is simple, right? More heroes, fewer villains.
Now, to make sure your results are as accurate as possible, there are a few simple things you need to do. You'll probably be asked to fast, which just means no food but water is fine, for about 9 to 12 hours beforehand. It's also smart to skip alcohol for a few days, since that can mess with your triglyceride levels. And of course, always have a chat with your doctor about any medications you're taking.
And the actual blood draw, honestly, it is so quick. It's usually over before you even have time to worry about it. A healthcare professional just takes a small blood sample from your arm. We're talking just a few minutes, and it's all done. A tiny little pinch for a whole lot of valuable information.
All right, now for the really good part. This is where we get to the results and what they actually mean for you. This is where you get the insights that can really help shape your health journey going forward.
Okay, let's talk numbers. Don't worry, I'll make this simple. For your total cholesterol, you're generally aiming to be below 5.0. For the bad LDL, you want that number to be under 3.0. Now for the good HDL, it's the opposite. You actually want it to be higher, so over 1.0 for men and 1.2 for women is great. And finally, for triglycerides, the goal is to be under 1.7. Just think of these as helpful signposts on your health map.
But, and this is probably the most important thing to remember, these numbers are not a diagnosis by themselves. They're a guide. Your doctor is the one who can actually read that map with you, putting the numbers in context with your overall health, your lifestyle, and your family history.
Okay, so you've got the knowledge, you've got your numbers. So, now what? Well, this is where the magic happens. This is where we turn all that information into real, positive action.
You know, what you eat is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to cholesterol. And the strategy is pretty straightforward. Less of the stuff that causes problems, like saturated fats and red meat and full-fat dairy, and more of the stuff that helps. That means loading up on fruits, veggies, whole grains, and choosing healthy fats from things like olive oil, nuts, and avocados.
And of course, getting your body moving is another huge one. The goal is about 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. That could be anything from a brisk walk to swimming or cycling. This is fantastic for lowering that bad LDL and can even help raise your good HDL. And hey, if you can, mixing in a little strength training a couple of times a week is even better.
And listen, if you're looking for some other big wins, here are 2 absolute game changers. Quitting smoking? That can give your good, HDL, a serious boost. And maintaining a healthy weight is one of the single most effective ways to lower your bad, LDL. Seriously, these things can make a huge direct impact. And you know, there's one last thing I want to touch on, and it's the mental side of all this. It might sound a little strange, but getting tested can actually reduce health anxiety. Why? Because knowledge is power. Instead of worrying about what you don't know, you have clear information and a clear path forward. It literally puts you back in the driver's seat of your own health.
So, as we finish up here, I just want to leave you with this one thought. Every single day, your health story is being written by the choices you make. And knowing your numbers, that's like being handed the pen. So, the only question left is, what are you going to write in your next chapter?